cut it that way, and like it can be
Sweet.
interesting.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
That will be cool.
We'll
Awesome.
talk
Well, why
about
don't you
it.
tell us a little bit about you, Lina?
Alrighty, well, me and Nicole talked a little bit last time that we had this meeting where Connor introduced us, but basically I have a doctorate in Chinese medicine and acupuncture. I studied radiesthesia, which is basically like the search of stagnant energies in the body with pendulums and with dowsing tools. I mostly use the pendulum. And also I've studied Gnosticism since I was like 13. So I've been in this world for a really long time. Like different ideologies. I've had different like masters and people that have taught me many things. So I feel like personally I'm ready to share that with the world, like share what I have learned and all the things that have worked for me, like the practices that has worked for me and the things that have not, and the things that I have discarded or that could be helpful for other people. I think it's important to share all of the and gnosis means like knowledge through experience, and I think that's what this is. Like the metaphysical world is our knowledge through our experience. Like everybody's experience is so different, and like all the things that we experience are very, very real and very present. And I think it's really interesting to talk about it because everybody's so different that they have all these awesome experiences that like really narrow to one thing. And but yeah, I've always been really interested in the energetic and spiritual world.
Now, did your parents, like, how did you become a Gnostic? Like, how did that even at such a young age?
I know, I was really young, and it's funny because I think back at it and I'm like, what was I doing like on Saturdays at like 13 meditating? Like what? But no, my parents, not at all. My parents have kind of allowed me to be and to explore my spirituality the way I wanted to. I have always been very curious though. Since I was really little, my grandma was very, very like a Roman Catholic to the bone. Like she would wake up at 4 a.m. to pray for the whole family and the children that come. Like she was very much like that, and I kind of grew up with her in that household, so I saw her praying and I saw her the way she was. And I've never in my 30 years of life, my grandma passed away 2 years ago, never did I ever hear her curse or be angry or just like she just had like such a like little pure soul that I was very fascinated by that, because we were surrounded by crazies, like all my aunts and uncles and cousins. I mean, everybody was normal and crazy and like, they did their own thing, but my grandma was just like something completely different. And I used to wake up with her and just like listen to her like pray to the rosemary, and then like hear her little church things. And so I was really interested in it. But as I grew up, I kind of started realizing the hypocrisy in the Roman Catholic Church, and I started kind of rebelling against it. And then when I moved up here, me and my best friend at the time, her family was Gnostic. Like her cousins and like her aunts, they like studied Gnosticism. So I was introduced by it. They're like, hey, do you want to come to these classes? They're gonna teach you about meditation and like energy and all these things. And I was like, oh, okay, that would be cool. And then I got really deep into it, and then I did that for like 8 years. So like from like 13 to like 20, and then like kind of rebelled against Gnosticism too.
Yeah,
And
I
then,
think you have to go through it all, right?
yeah, I kind of rebelled against it. There was a lot of things that like it didn't vibe with me at the time, so I stopped going. And then I got really into like radiesthesia, like pendulum, and that's kind of how I got introduced to Chinese medicine and Taoism and Buddhism, and I got really into that. And then there was like little phases that I went through with different ideologies, but basically, yeah. And then recently, like 3 or 4 years ago, I went back into Gnosticism. So I'm back in the classes of Gnostic teachings. I'm learning different things now, and I understand them from a different way and a different perspective. And I guess I can appreciate it more, and I can kind of like discern what is good for me or not, so it's really good, and I enjoy it. So that's kind of how I got into it.
Oh, awesome. I love it. I love that. I look at a lot of these spiritual healers or whatever we want to categorize ourselves. Someone who is more consciously aware of energy. And I'm very fascinated how people so young are getting started. And you said your journey really started at 13. That's fabulous. I love
Mhm.
it.
I
I
mean, I went through like ups and downs, but
Oh yeah,
I have always kind of stuck to something. I have
yeah.
always have some kind of faith or some kind of thing that kept me in the spiritual world. So I'm really blessed and grateful for that. I think it took me out of a lot of bad situations in my life, especially living in Miami and the way that they live down
Yeah,
there.
yeah. Well, and I can relate. My parents were non-denominational, so my dad was raised Catholic, and my mom was raised Presbyterian. But they decided to just allow us to choose whatever religion we wanted, and I felt very like an outcast where I was because everyone was either Catholic going to CCD. Most of
Hmm.
my friends were Catholic, so I wasn't around people that really were talking about spirituality, and I just wanted to blend in because I think I knew I was so different. I'm like, no one could know that somebody, I'm a little odd, and I didn't want to be exposed. I just wanted to be fit in and loved. For most of my life, I felt very much like I was a people pleaser, and I just did whatever I could do to make sure that I obeyed and was a good listener, and that's part of a lot of the healing and trauma that I did. I really put away, I literally locked my inner child in a basement and created an alter ego since first grade. And so that was part of my conscious awakening journey. Was the coping I did wasn't working anymore. So that the strategies I did to hide the person that I really wasn't working, and things were breaking and falling apart in front of me, and a lot of financial distress. And so then believe it or not, my sister, she started dabbling into spirituality for off and on, and then she told me about getting into crystal bowls, and I'm like, what are crystal bowls going to do, so disconnected to any of it. I'm like, nah, I don't know. And then she's like, well, if you're going to do anything, look up Dolores Cannon. And I think I was just, at that point, I was so desperate for a better life, because I was like, there has to be more to living than this, rat race of just nothingness. I felt empty. I had a family. I felt like I failed them. And so then I started listening to Dolores Cannon, and I'm like, I feel like I know this. And it just went deeper and deeper and deeper into the rabbit hole, and got a QHHT session, quantum healing hypnosis technique is what she does. And I went and connected with the other side, actually. And now I'm guided by, I would call him a messenger. My friend Jeff is with me, and he showed me the whole purpose of my life and why I'm now going to make a huge shift. And I was very type A. Not that I'm not type A now, but I'm slowly shifting. I had someone today at the gym say, like, you're no longer the exposed nerve. I'm like, you're right. It's like, you're so chill now. You're like a normal person. And I'm like, yeah, sometimes, right? And so I was starting to see things from like another perspective. And I totally changed as a person and got into way deep stuff that I think I was always curious about, but it didn't hit me in the way that when I started opening up myself, it really hit home. And now we have crystals everywhere. I have crystal bowl. We have a full set of crystal bowls. My husband Brian plays the didgeridoo, very much in tuned with that. And then I decided to start this broadcast called the Conscious Broadcast, where I'm interviewing many people on the collective journey that we're all coming together and sharing our stories. And we're going to find and shift through this new paradigm together. And what greater way to do it on the summit of light, And so that's how I'm here. Nicole, I mean, she's my like little angel who I know we've had like past lives with, because I didn't know Telegram at all. And I got on with a friend, and then Nicole must have been on her channel. And then somehow I'm like, oh, I like this. And I ended up on her channel, and I see her having all these followers, and I'm like, wow, this is really amazing. And then now we're like super close, which is really awesome. She's helping me with my channel, and we've been on this New Earth Leaders journey to have these conversations. We're finally having them. So that's kind of how I got here.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, thanks.
Amazing.
What a beautiful serendipity that you end
Right.
up finding people, and then people
Absolutely.
know.
And now,
people.
Lina, you're now you're.
Yeah, I know. I wanted to be
deeply
involved.
ingrained.
I wanted to.
Manifested.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, I
You
literally wouldn't
vanished
have known
from
everything.
yeah.
I feel that.
Well, I think we're all going through a lot right now. As you said, Lina, you have some personal things going on. Nicole and I chatted. Our there's a lot. Like, I'm trying to cram so much in, and it's just there. It's like you can only do so much.
That's exactly how it is.
It's like that guy. You posted. I think I took it off yours, or we shared it. I put it on my my channel. This guy, Paul Chek, who I followed for a long time. You might be familiar. Maybe you both might be familiar with Paul Chek, but he's somewhat of a nutritionist guru slash sports enthusiast. Trains a lot of people on his program, Metabolic Typing. Anyway, he posted something about water. I think it was you, Nicole, that posted it. Yeah. And at the end, he said, there is so much information that we're getting every day that 100 years ago, we're getting all that information just over 100-year span in one day. One day, that's how much information, 100 years worth of information. And I believe it, because I see my kids in overload. They're like, heads are spinning. And I'm like, we need to like ground ourselves right now. We're going to go outside and we're going to go take a lap or whatever, even though it's cold over here, but we need to get outside.
Honestly. Yeah. I think it's really helped put us in a space where we are forced to choose boundaries, and our energy is just like the dance. And if we don't, then you're not along for the ride, because you're going to be down. It's like learning the dance, which I feel like I've been really doing this since the beginning of this year. I think has really been like, of course, it's December 21st when it happened for me. The portal opened, the energy is intense, and I'm having to consciously and aware of everything. Like, why am I feeling like this? Okay, I need to put that down. Like, why is this happening like this? Okay. And it's just like this constant assessing, I feel like, which has gotten me to the point though, where I can trust the feelings coming in, where it's like, oh, I can tell something is starting. I need to like take a breath. Like, I can almost, I don't know, I trust myself more because of the scenarios that I've been in that have been real life. So it's been really good to just know and trust the energies, to ground, to do the meditations, to have the timing that's right for that. Because yeah, the energy has been so rampant. Downloads, uploads, all of it.
Mm-hmm. And it's nice. I think it's a really good time for what you were mentioning, discernment, like learning what energies are not yours and what energies you want to keep, the impressions that are coming in. So I studied a lot of like the occult anatomy and how like those energies affect your body. And because I studied Chinese medicine, I'm really into like the body and the way that
we love it. Bring it.
So it all affects like, you know, your solar plexus. All of that stuff affects all those energies first come through your solar plexus. That's the biggest basically energy center to like gather information. You're chewing, you're digesting all this information. So I think that's so valid, like learning how to discern what are the things that are going on, like what are you going to digest, what are you going to excrete, and what are you going to keep, because there's a lot of things going on. And not only, I mean, talking through like a conspiracy way, I feel like there's also a big like tension between these forces. Like there's like this pull and push, you know, like pay attention to me. It's like, no, this, and it's like,
yes, absolutely. I mean, we were just, I was chatting on my interview today, and it was good to hear her perspective, because, you know, not every healer or person is going to be in the same place that you are. Not that anyone's right or wrong, but their perspective may be different. And it's great I've come a long way from kind of trying to find the truth, and it's this way, realizing that I'm really kind of in a polar way, and I had to really kind of pull myself into that neutral place. Obviously, it's kind of like an ebb and flow, right? But realizing that I was contributing to some of that, even whatever I believed in, was also not coming from the heart. It was coming from fear. So it's very interesting to see how we can get shifted in and out.
Definitely.
Yeah,
I think it's only human, right? To like feel those kinds of things.
Absolutely. Nicole, do you want to talk a little bit about your experience too? Sorry, we were sharing a little bit about us when you hung up.
Good. Yeah, I mean, my experience, I feel like something I haven't really mentioned before that kind of sparked what Lina said with her story is just like with the religion background that I grew up in, being Mormon, because I was in that, like I was aware of something like greater, right? Like a power of some kind. But for me growing up, the disconnect was that I need something like tangible, like why, like what, I don't understand how the church then just makes it like, it just is. I'm like, okay, that makes no sense to me. What is that just is? Like that question mark was my curiosity for life. Like I felt like, but being able to have that exposure throughout my life, I don't know how I would have found that without that. So I definitely have to be thankful for the way that it came about. But then I really think it was learning about the Egyptian pyramids and the times how they just saw everything with astrology was correlated to just everything, just made sense with astrology to sacred geometry, seeing it in every country, like all over the world. It's like, okay, then there's something about this. Like it really filled my soul that how is this an unspoken language all across the world? Like that was just like so exciting to me. So I was like, I got to know more, but I didn't really know even what to look at, like the words to find, like the spiritual words that we use that we know now and speak, like what those words were to search to know what to find in the first place. And so I think it was really spirit science, which I don't know if you've heard of this, the little character cartoon dude on YouTube. I don't know how, but I stumbled upon that. And that for me is what really sparked my awakening, because there's a video on just about every topic, but there's much on sacred geometry, fell in love with sacred geometry. And then also I think that's when I started to learn about just the intelligence that's just overriding the divine. Like when we really look at metaphysics, what it's defined as beyond the nature of reality, right? So anything that's beyond the nature of reality, I'm like, me, yes, that's what I want to learn about. So, but what is it? What's that question mark? So really getting into then seeing videos and real life things, like we've talked to many a times before, the speaking to rice, seeing it grow well, seeing the sand on the boards vibrating, seeing the shapes. That to me was the answer. It's literally the frequency literally makes this. So it's like, then I was like, okay, go back from that. And I'm just trying to go back to like, where is the start source point? Right. And then you get into quarks and all those things. So then I was
Where's
just like,
the radio? Where's the radio that is exactly coming through?
We're antennas all the time. That's why I always imagine us just like antennas passing around our frequencies.
Yeah, so, and it wouldn't it be really cool to be able to see those frequencies more often? Like actually see the frequency of maybe dis-ease, like what that looks like. I mean, we know by colds and whatever, but like knowing, oh, if we could see like the red or whatever inflammation rising, the fire rising, like it would be so cool to be able to connect at that level if you're, you know, a lay person or whatever. That's something that really perked my interest to be like, it's like a barometer of before it actually, boom, I'm laid out. I can actually see how well I am. And I love the whole dowsing thing. I was going to say that to you, Lina. Like I was fascinated by dowsing. People are doing it from like distance dowsing, and it's all so cool. And just Chinese medicine in general, like what you probably do and Laura do from a distance. I mean, she was dropping bombs about gallbladders and eyes and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah. That's true too. Everything with the correlation and chakras and energy systems. Yeah. But one thing I do have the cool benefit of is in my 3D professional job, whatever, doing being an EEG technologist, I get to visually see the brain waves, their state of consciousness. I'm literally seeing the people's state of consciousness. So with
What
that,
does it look like?
it's squiggly lines, literally sine waves. Everything is a sine wave. So when our brain waves are, I wish I could show you a photo. So obviously we know when we are in drowsiness, you're in a theta sleep, or a theta 2 to 4 hertz waves in 1 second. It's literally, most people are actually
you can see
drowsy.
when they're in theta.
Oh yeah, most people are actually drowsy, believe it or not, because we don't sleep. But the thing about it is, this has always been so interesting to me, because when I've learned before, and with EEG, they've done tests on like Buddhist monks and people that have gone into very deep meditation that can reach gamma really instantly, super, super fast waves per second. It's like 20 waves a second, lots of information. So with that, looking at that, the flip inverted AI side is medication creates that same frequency, but it causes an anxiety rather than an awakening. So it's the inverted version, but you can see people on medication with this fast beta gamma brainwaves, but it's the opposite of information. In fact, it's complete opposite and causes, as we know, anxieties and things like that. But
Well,
it's
and
literally
because
amazing.
that's interesting that you mentioned that, because if that is the same exact frequency, but this person's not ready to experience this frequency, right? Like it's being forced onto that person, then all you're gonna do is like,
exactly,
instead
you
of
said that
like
so well.
maybe slowly going up and like raising that, like
Right.
You haven't
going to
processed
it.
the feelings. Yeah.
Right. And
And
it's
that's
also like the deficiency. It's like what the body natural serotonin, right? If you're putting something that's unnatural, you're forcing the body to do something that it's like, I don't know what this is. Okay, I'm supposed to feel this way. And now I'm feeling a different feeling.
Then there's blockages and all the
Right.
problems. Yeah, exactly. So
Wow.
it's amazing to watch people, because every patient that we do an EEG on, we have them sleep deprived prior to coming in hopes to see them reach a sleep state, because then it goes into delta even slower. And then there's many things on that wave. But you do get to see the transition of sleep and wake and really watching the brain waves come to life, moving into alpha. And this is their state of consciousness. So even comparing to someone that's like in an ICU intensive setting, where they're in a coma or somewhere where they're not having an awareness in awake life, there literally is just a flat slowing. It's not necessarily flat that you don't have brainwaves. It's a very subtle slowing, but really, really slow, low vibration that you literally are a part of your body. Some people, though, have similar to near-death experience things in that state and can come back and tell you everything that went on in that room. But a lot of the time, it's only if they obviously have a good outcome. Yeah, I literally get to see consciousness in real life, which is real to me. So that's
probably
amazing.
why you like stay in there, because it's like you got to bridge the gap somehow, and that's your calling, right?
I'm trying to figure it out. I don't know if I could somehow do like purchase or get my own EEG equipment and do something more spiritual with it, because that's obviously the goal. But just even hearing about people that do EEGs and like Maharishi effect type of foundations, that people are actually studying this, like
Put
that
them on
would
the
be
mushrooms. Come on, Nicole.
exactly, that's what I'm saying. I just want to see your brainwaves under all these types of, I don't know, I think it would be great.
Well, have you done some kind of neural feedback with the EEG?
Yes, I have. And when I
That's
was in
fascinating.
another city, a huge hospital, we did a lot of that kind of stuff. Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that. That's so
That's what made everything real for me. So I'm like, I'm doing it in real life, but the spirituality component is a little lacking for me, which gives me a little disconnected, as you can imagine. But yeah.
I think like when you go to the core of things, whether it's spiritual, whether it's scientific, like you end up finding out that there is quite ethereal, right? Like whether it is like you want to go into the spiritual realm and talk about Buddha and like awakening and enlightenment, or you want to talk about like those kinds of experiences, near-death experiences, it always goes back to one thing, which is just like ethereal. Like that's really what it is. And I think that's great. I love that stuff. So cool to hear.
I feel like it's just like a different storyteller. It's all the same story, but who's telling the story, right? And you have a scientist coming from their storytelling to a poet, a mystic, and it's all the same story, but it's going to sound slightly different.
that's why I'm excited about the summit panel in general, because it's all these topics, but really all of it is designed essentially to activate our DNA. Like it's
Right.
going to happen regardless because of just even the blueprint behind the words. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, trigger the memories of all these things that we already know and that we already experience. And like you said, Danielle, you mentioned when you started getting into spirituality, you started reading about it, like everything kind of like made sense. That, and I think that's like a world felt thing. Like whenever like
a knowing.
Yeah, like a language, like a language that we can talk in, that it's normal to us, but completely cuckoo to other people. Because if anybody else was to hear this and they don't know any kind of, they haven't had this this spark, like a spark, right? Like it's a spark where like you understand the universe is not just this, like it's so much more than this. If they haven't had that spark, it's like literally talking to a wall, like
and I feel like sometimes the spark isn't the most pleasant spark. I mean, I had to go to a very dark place, as we all know, dark night of soul, or whatever you want to refer to really face this place of like, oh my God, I thought this my whole entire life. Literally. And it is a complete lie. Like at least in my reality, I mean, everything that I can see, I could no longer participate in some of the things that I believed in, because it's not what it was. It was like just some type of sheet. It's like nothing to see here. And someone put a sheet over the broken pieces of a car that got crashed, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God, there's a damaged car there. I can't deny that I see a damaged car. So for me, that's the kind of how it was. It was something like boom, and then there's no going back, and that's okay. So
it's never going back.
There's never going back.
Even though you want to some point, you're like, oh my God, I just want to stop caring so much about this. It's like I'm like going crazy here, but it's just it's like you just gotta be devoted and just kind of go all ahead. And I and there's like a passage I want to share, that it's like it's a Gnostic passage where it says like the Divine Mother carries their child in through the razor path, the razor blade path, meaning that you're like walking in this path where it's painful, you're walking on it, but there's something like, well, we call it the Divine Mother because that's the aspect of nurturing in the universe, but this Divine Mother is carrying you through it, like helping you through it. I mean, you're stepping, but she's helping you through the pain. And I think that's really what spiritual awakening is, that you're walking through this path, and then if you have trust that the universe has your back, and that you got this, that like the path just only gets sharper, but you will get better. Like, I think that's, I just love that, because at first it's so painful and it's like, ow, I don't want this. Like, what is this? I wish I could just like, forget about all this nonsense. But then it gets into this nice sweet spot where you're walking it. It's still painful, because it's still like painful to go outside and see people in the street and be like, oh damn, like I can't do anything about it, but it hurts my inside and my soul, like but you start seeing things in a different way, right? Like mirroring instead of like being in pain constantly. I don't know if I made sense. I just rambled.
No, I loved it.
That makes sense. Yeah. The responsibility is there now.
Yes. And I like what
when we don't want to.
Right. And I liked what you said about being held. I think like for me, when I first was going through the difficult time, I just wanted someone to save me. I'm like, someone needs to save me. And then I'm like, wait, I need to save myself. And I just need to let go. Like I was holding on so tight to something. And then I'm like, what am I doing? What's the worst that could happen? I start over. And that's it. It was so simple. The concept of letting go. And then you're just like, try it. And then you're like, that's it. Okay. There might be some things that I have to do that aren't so pleasant, but it's so much easier to let go than to hold on to something. And letting people go, allowing people and letting them live their life, even though you don't like it. That was a huge lesson for me. I mean, I that's not my responsibility. They have their own soul journey. I can only be here to plant seeds. Nicole and I talk about this all the time, planting seeds and sharing and being my authentic self and being okay with who I am. And if you're not, sorry, like you'll eventually, find your tribe, find your people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's something I've had to learn, I guess, the hard way over the past few years. Of it started with, going down the rabbit holes. And I mean, it's just the process. Everyone knows you get angry, you feel like you have something to prove, you feel like there's one way and no other way. And it's everyone can relate because you go through this, but then you eventually learn, I can say this all day long and it will never get through, and I'm just wasting my energy. So
Yes.
at that point, I need to step away and they'll find it on their own. I dropped the seed, I did what I could, and at that point, I did what I could, and that's enough for me. But that took a long time to get to that point because I was so passionate about my truth at the time or whatever, that continuously shifts because that's the journey of life, right? We're continually adding to what we have. And so our ideas may shift a little bit. What I was so passionate about telling them the other day, that it's just needing to let go a little bit, step back and just see, again, the energy dance. I can't put my energy here anymore. I've done what I could. So yeah, that was a learning curve.
Definitely. I think that's so important for us to understand that not everybody's gonna listen to the message. Like, not everybody's not gonna be for everybody because most people are not ready to hear those things. And whether the reason why we speak into existence these things is for it to reach those people, to have that spark. Because this conversation itself is being traveled through miles where we are. And those are things that are gonna help spark up that consciousness. Is not actually listening to us and being like they're the ones that know. It's more like our energies transferring into the world and like raising
Like a ripple.
Wow, yeah, exactly. We're just throwing a pebble into the lake and seeing it flow, seeing where it lands and where it goes. And I think that's I had a really beautiful experience in hypnosis that reminded me of this summit of light. And I literally feel like this was what I saw when I was under hypnosis. The more I become involved with you guys and with everything. But I was in hypnosis and I was telling my therapist at the time, I was like, I feel so alone in my journey. I'm like, I feel like I can never find people to talk about what I experience, what I feel like about my spirituality. Like I feel so alone in it. And then he's like, it is the hermit road. Like you are going to be alone most of the time. And it is going to be painful because the people that you love are not going to be the ones that are going to understand these things. It's actually going to be random people that you will never expect to be surrounded by. And then after the conversation, I went in through hypnosis and then I saw a tree coming out of the earth and all these blossoms all over the world spreading, like opening up like blossoms, like blossoms of like a cherry blossom tree. And I like, that's the moment when I was like, oh, it's okay, they're here. I just don't know them yet. I just don't know these people. I don't know, like I haven't made the connection yet, but I'm part of that root and I'm part of all of that blossoms that is happening right now at the moment. And it just gave me such peace. But then once Connor told me this, I saw the tree with the blossoms opening up again. And I was like, that's what this is. I understand now. Yeah. I understand. And I thought that was, it's just so nice to have those kinds of confirmations.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and I've gotten very similar messages too about us all finding each other. It's not going to be, and through being the practitioner and someone under hypnosis, them saying that we're light workers and we're looking for each other. We have to find each other from our light. And I mean, it's fascinating when you hear somebody who's in a deep state telling you this, and like, for a while, I'm sitting here doing this work and I'm like, maybe it's foo-foo woo-woo, but a lot of things are circling back now 2 years after I'm doing sessions where people are now doing automatic writing and they're speaking from spirit and they're telling me, you need to continue doing what you're doing. You're on the right path. And sometimes having that validation is like, okay, good, I'm not a little crazy. Because sometimes like I said, I'm an Aquarius and I can go far out there, and I actually like it. I like it, you know, but at the same time, I know the feeling that I have, I can't prove it, but I know that it's a strong feeling, and it's not one to make me feel like I have to do anything change. Like, it's the right thing for me. And that's all that I need. I've played around with my intuition, and I'd love to hear your feedback from both of you, when something feels right and when something is wrong. I know what that feels like, and I've dabbled in that, and I've had like basically my awakening happened because I had to go along with that bad feeling, because it was a collective decision to go down that path. But I knew, and I actually saw a psychic about it because it was such a bad feeling. So it's interesting. What do you guys feel about the knowing, the intuition? Nicole, you want to go?
Yeah, so for me, I can kind of tap into when we did our little video, because it's the devil and the angel, right? It's the devil taunting you in this, like, in this way that does not feel like it's coming from the heart, really. It's like, it's tempting you, it's taunting you, it feels anxiety almost, where it's like, I'm not sure if this is right. It's like questions. I'm not sure if I should. What would go, like, these questions start coming up, whereas you know that it's going to, from your higher self, it's guided, it's from the heart. It's a silent knowing. It's just, I don't even think about it. It just enters in and it feels good. And that is, I've learned to trust that feel good feeling. And I think that's, I guess, what made me recognize, is being able to trust the feeling. But I think I mentioned before that what really got my wake up attention to the voice was I was actually driving on the road, and I looked away and almost hit something. And so when I had a voice calmly say, you know, look back, and I just didn't even question it. I just did it, and I almost hit something. So I knew right then that that was a voice that was guiding me. It was prompting me. And so to be able to discern that from then something else that would happen where I just feel like not authentic, I'm just feel like I'm the ego just in the way. I think that's the best way to discern it. Always from the heart, not from the head.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Definitely. I can
How
agree
about you,
with that.
Lina?
I can agree with that. I think that there's this definitely like a knowing. I think it's very similar. That knowing feeling is really similar to the knowing of pleasure. And I think that's why I'm confused as humans. That's what makes us kind of question ourselves and our like where we're heading. And I think once we get that down, it's like, oh no, I'm doing this because of pleasure. I'm not listening to this hour-long YouTube thing because it's nice and awesome. It's because I'm just not trying to pay attention. You know, like I feel like that those are that's that discernment that you're talking about, Nicole, is exactly that. That's how I feel it. It's like that pleasure and the actual like actual happiness. When you're outside, like for example, I go outside in the woods, I feel like such a calm, ah, good feeling. I'm like, oh wow, this is this is where I'm meant to be. This is where I'm supposed to be. And then like let's say that I'm like going out, like going somewhere that it's surrounded by people, I start feeling that like, ooh, in my gut. I'm like, oh my god, there's so much going on around. And I mean, it obviously happens through our levels of energy, because sometimes I can handle it and I can be okay with multiple people, but sometimes it's not. And I think listening to our bodies or what it's saying is about that, like it's in the heart or in the head, like where do you feel these things, where are you feeling it? There's this thing that is like basically you have like 5 different body areas, right? Like where like there's the intellect, the emotional, the instinctual, the motor, and the sexual. Those are the main things how we handle emotions and feelings. So changing those how do you like bodies, like not bodies but centers, like, that's a better way. Centers, like for example, if you're feeling it in your head too much, if you're thinking about it and giving you anxiety, then you do something that you love, or you move your body to change frequency to that area to change it so you're not stuck in that place. Let's say I'm a Pisces. We're talking about signs. I'm a Pisces.
Oh, there we go. She's a water sign. We found out.
I am, but I have like a whole stellium in Aquarius. I have like a bunch of planets in Aquarius. So
I'm glad that you're water. I really am. I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, I'm water.
Water.
I'm a Pisces and a Cancer rising. So yeah, definitely I have a lot of water in my chart, but I have a lot of also like Aquarius. So when you were mentioning and you're like, I hope you're an earth sign. I'm like, far from it.
You're like very far from it. I'm like, well, the only reason why I said that, because I'm like, if we're all, I knew Nicole was fire, but I'm like, oh man, we're gonna go real out there. I mean, I've just
but isn't
surrounded
that funny that the people that are here in the metaphysical things is water and air and fire, like the most woody signs?
Right. And Pisces. Oh, and what's your birthday?
My birthday just passed, actually, February 21st.
Oh, happy birthday.
Yeah.
Yay.
Oh, that's my sister's birthday, actually.
No way. That's awesome.
Yeah, February 21st.
Yeah. That's awesome. I'm February 4th. So we're February's. Amethyst. Yeah.
Nice. I love my Aquarius peoples.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I mean, and it's funny because my mom's a Pisces too. So she had a birthday on the 27th. And I'm sorry, the 27th. And then Nicole, your birthday's in August, right?
July 29th.
July. Why did I think August?
End. I don't know.
But yeah, I don't remember.
Very end. I'm like right on the end of being a Leo. And then just in general, my chart, I'm also moon is cusp Cancer. So
yeah. Okay.
I don't even know all the other moon stuff. It's funny. I'm like the most random interested astrology.
Oh my God. One day we should like talk together and I'll tell you your signs, a little bit about them.
Yeah, I would love that. Someone told me I'm like rising. I don't know if I'm rising Taurus or I forget what it is. I don't remember.
There you go. We have that earth sign right there.
I might be. Yeah. Well, my son's a Taurus, but I forget what it was. It was something. I might be totally wrong. I don't know. I don't have the exact time of my birth, so it's not on my birth certificate. My dad's like, you're born in the morning. So I'm like, I put out a time and because I'm very interested in doing the gene keys now after one of my interviews. Was really deep into the gene keys. But I know a lot of the astrology is all about the time. But you probably can get around. What's that?
I was born at 111, 111.
Wow, really? That's awesome.
My number, Nicole. I love that number. That's like the number that follows me around. I love it.
When I learned that, I was like, okay, that's enough.
You know what's funny? I was born exactly at 3:00 p.m.
Oh my God.
I didn't believe my mom. I thought she was just making that up because I was like, how would it be born exactly at 3 p.m.?
Weird.
That doesn't make any sense. And she's like, I swear to God, that's exactly. I looked at the time and it was 3:00, and I was like, you're lying to me. And I looked at the birth certificate, and sure enough, 3 p.m.
Oh my gosh. That's amazing. And I equal 3, so we're 3s right here.
3. That's what I was gonna say. That's why I love the 111, because I'm like 3:00, 3. And my birthday is 21st, 3.
What's your number sign?
What do you mean by that?
The numerology. I'm a number 8.
Mine too.
I'm a 9.
You're number 8? Yeah.
I'm a 9. Of course, you guys. What the heck?
Yeah.
Same all over.
What's your number?
I'm a 9.
You're 9.
Master number. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, girl. Well, it was funny because when I read about the 8s, I was like, this is making a lot of sense because all financial stuff, right? And then when it's like, when you get to the top, it's like, I should read it again, because when I read it, I was like, I'm so down at the bottom. I'm never going to make it.
Oh my gosh. That's funny you say that, because the last, when Lina and Natasha and I with Connor talked, after we talked about signs and stuff, I actually got back on to read my birth chart reading that I had done long time ago. I was like, I wanted to remember some of that stuff, like the things I need to work on or whatever. Again, why we talked about charts though, and how they could be bad and how you rely on them so much. But I have a lot of Saturn, which makes me that's heavy. It's a lot of traps that I have in mind, which is not fun. A lot of abandonment.
That's definitely the most transformational though. That's the thing that, like, if you go through that, it's like the outcome is like 10 times more like worth than anybody else. Yeah, I
like that. That's
so it's
positive.
Worth it. Like all the troubles that you go through are worth it. Like my Saturn is in relationships. My relationships are like have my whole life. I think this is the most healthiest relationship I've been in. But like other than that, it's been like horrible. And I've always learned like something, but I have overcome certain aspects of myself as it happens. And that's kind of one thing that I noticed, because I was like, when I read it at first, I was like, oh my God, my life is gonna be horrible. Oh my
Right?
God,
That's how I felt too.
terrible.
It's like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have all the abandonment. I'm gonna be never independent. I'm gonna be alone forever. I have patriarchal issues. God damn.
Yeah.
Like,
You're like,
You're
this is all
describing
true.
me.
Damn it.
but rereading it this last time, a lot has shifted since the last time, where I'm like, oh, I think I'm here now. I think I've done this. And something interesting too, it said that I tend to be more peaceful or calm or balanced in earth tones, which I thought was interesting, because I never used to wear earth tones. Like I used to be like blue, black, gray, that's like it. But even now I'm wearing like green and brown, like subconsciously I'm just like choosing them. It's kind of interesting to become more aligned that way.
Yeah, definitely. We have those colors that like help us, like that's another part of the metaphysical world, right? Like we kind of learn what amplifies our energy and what takes away our energy. Like I personally love black, but literally takes my soul away. I literally feel like my brain, my face looks like, oh, and I love wearing black, but I try to put some kind of color into it so it can, I don't know, like bring my life back or something. Because I literally feel like I'm like,
Get you.
mm-hmm.
I have to at work. I have to wear black scrubs every day, which is
Me too.
negative on negative. So I'm like in 3D and black. So I'm like, got my crystals on. I got protection.
Why do you guys have to wear black? Why aren't you wearing like blue or white?
Well, for us, it's each department is a different color, and imaging happens to be black. So that's why I got it.
Mine is just my uniform. That's the uniform that they chose. Black scrubs, and I don't like it. I work in an orthopedic surgeon's office, so it's like all these pain people come in, and I'm like, I'm like,
The lowest of the low.
I'm like literally receptive mode, take everything in, and so I try to kind of like.
Is that why you have your? Do you have your tourmaline? Is that tourmaline?
I do have tourmaline, but this is lapis lazuli.
Oh my gosh! Look at us all.
What do you have? What do you have, Nicole?
Shungai. Girl knows what's up.
Yeah, and what do you have over there?
I have a lapis lazuli.
I love lapis lazuli.
You know that a Pisces would be wearing a lapis lazuli. That's
you guys, I'm still like pretty new to my little crystals section.
Here's a lapis lazuli.
Oh, that's really pretty.
I love it.
And is that like a Pisces type of gem to be around, or is it not necessarily?
Not necessarily.
Well, I got my little Aquarius kit here. I bought it from Whole Foods. I literally saw it at Whole Foods. It's right here.
Oh, that's cute.
It's great. And I have hematite, amethyst, crystal quartz. Is it called apatite?
Apatite.
It is apatite. Rose quartz and fluorite. I'm digging the fluorite big time. Like loving it. And then when I read about it, I was like, oh yeah. I need calm right now. Remember we were talking about the energies? I'm like, I need calm right now. I need calm and just grounded. I got really into making organite for a little while. You made that? Yeah. That's beautiful.
So I made a couple of them. I have another one somewhere. Cool. I don't know where it is.
How do you have like a mold, or how do you do that?
Yeah, I have like a silicone mold. The thing is that resin is so toxic. It smells disgusting. It's everything. And my whole place is carpet, so I cannot do it anymore. But I love organites. This is what organite is actually. I have this one Connor made me when we were in school.
That's cool
that he made it. I have everything by the computer because I'm like,
I know I have all my stuff here too. I think I told Danielle this, but Lina, this selenite palm stone,
I love it.
It was gifted to me when I went to a rock shop, and I just had this moment with the owner. She's like, I just feel your energy. You must be a healer. I was like, yeah, I do mass meditations, all this stuff. And she's like, I have something for you. And she came back and placed this palm stone in my hand. And she's like, I feel like you need this. And we like hugged and cried, and it was beautiful.
Oh, did she put it in the right hand or in the left hand?
She put it in my right hand. What does that
mean? Giving, your giving energy. So just she
Okay.
noticed that you
I didn't
are
even think
like
about
a
that.
giver. You're a giver, so you need to heal how much you give. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's so true. Oh my
So
God.
left hand is always going to be the receiver. Is the yin, is the feminine. So you're gonna receive with your left hand. So any kind of
Okay.
like stone that you want to receive energy from, like for example, like an amethyst that you want to receive clarity, you want to receive insight, a quartz that you want to be connected to the divine, you want to put it in the left hand so you can receive that stuff. Also citrine if you want finances, good finances in the left hand, never in the right hand, unless you're doing it through a masculine, like to heal the masculine aspect, because the masculine is the right hand, which is the giver. So the giver and the receiver. So whatever it is that you're trying to be better at, let's say that I'm a people pleaser too. You were talking about the people pleasing, Danielle, and I'm totally that. And I feel like last year, I became kind of a villain to all my friends because I stopped being such
You're like,
a
who is
people
this girl now? She's not that girl that would just do
Oh,
everything for
people
me.
that I've been
Where's the
friends with
giver?
like 15 years, they
Right.
thought that I was still like take their shit. I'm sorry
Right.
for cursing, but like
Yeah,
it's
we've
the
cursed.
truth.
We've cursed a bunch of times already. So
And then I literally, I'm like, I was kind of like becoming the villain, and I'm like, damn, like what is this feeling? I like it.
yeah.
Why am I not caring anymore?
Yeah, like
Oh, I
why
love
am I
that.
not like not crying when they hurt my heart anymore? Like I'm like literally,
So true.
but it's so important because all my life I felt so like exhausted from giving things and not like getting exchange, and I was like, no more. I'm like, we're gonna do some
Absolutely.
kind of exchange program here because girl needs an energy back. Like I cannot give and give and give and not have absolutely anything for me. Like that's not possible. I kind of changed that aspect inside myself, and I was like, I will not do that again. Like especially with my energy healing, like Connor helped me a lot through this because I have a big problem charging people for my work because I'm such a giver. I want to do that for you. Like let me just do this for you. Let me just help you. Like let me just do the cleansing.
I think
you.
all of
Like,
us have that problem.
yeah, and that's what we were talking about. And then
Nicole's like, ding.
yeah, and I
That's me.
think it's so important to stand up for who you are and
Absolutely.
put something there, like some kind of
Yeah.
like, listen, I am worth this money because even though like it is something that I need it right now. Like this is something I'm giving an energy and I need something back from you. So I started kind of like implementing a sliding scale at first. So I'm like, okay, let's do a sliding scale from 60 to 100. Let's see how it goes. And I think it's fantastic to give the option for people to pay as much as they can. Because not only am I helping and I'm not feeling terrible about it, like, oh my God, my price is $100 and something, and then that's it. You cannot pay for it. You cannot have it. Like, I can give you an option to be able to do it without selling myself short.
Yeah.
So
And how do you do the sliding scale, if you don't mind me asking? How does that present that?
Yeah, so I've been working at a clinic. Well, I became really close with an acupuncturist that I was interning for. He does a lot of like work with Torihara, which is basically this kind of other system of acupuncture that very few people know. So I started learning from him and like trying to, but he has the most beautiful clinic. Like it's magical in there. Like he has two.
I want to go.
And he has, I have to send you guys, I'll send you the TikTok video that I made of his clinic so you guys can see how beautiful it is. So since I started acupuncture school, I started observing at that clinic because I thought it was fantastic. And I was like, I love this place. I'm like, I want to work here. I want to work here. I want to work here since I started going to school. So after I graduated from school, after COVID happened and blah, 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 I was like, I need to intern for somebody while I'm finishing my doctorate. Like I need to like kind of keep my juices flowing in acupuncture because my doctorate program was research based. It wasn't acupuncture based. So it was like, I was losing that touch with like acupuncture and like knowing, like, I'm like, I know my points, but like, I want to know how you put them together. Like, I want to like see that. And then I got really close with him and I asked him, I was like, listen, I want to work over the weekends and do radiesthesia here. Would you allow me to do that? And he's like, here you go. Here's the key. You can pay me $10 per patient. Okay, bye. And then I was like, did this just really happen? I'm like, I mean, I don't have a lot of patients right now because I'm just starting. I'm like, just starting to, but I had 2 people already over there and it's fantastic. And I love that, like, on the weekends, nobody's there. So it's so good for energy work because nobody's there to influence the energy fields of
absolutely.
So it's
I love
just
it.
me and the other person. So basically I use anything that comes like as a download. I'll bring all my tools. I'll bring a bunch of like essential oils, tinctures, herbs,
All right, Lina,
incense.
we're coming over. We're coming over this weekend.
Yeah, you guys
No.
have to. Yes, of course.
Seriously.
And then I'll gather all this stuff, and then depending on what you need, I'll start kind of like building you up through there, like reading your energy with the pendulum. So I use like this universal pendulum that has all these crystals and minerals and stuff. And then I'll read all these like the energetic channels. Where's the energy getting stuck at? What is happening in your body? What am I experiencing? So a lot of the time I get a bunch of downloads from a person. Like, so one of the patients that I had, like I saw her in a theater, like I saw her performing, and I was like, have you ever done some kind of theater? And she was like, yeah, when I was a kid I used to do theater. Oh my, like, and I was like, well, you should do it again. Like I think that feeds your little kid. Like I think that's what your kid needs. And it's just fascinating to see the confirmation, because I think that's why I do it too. Like I think it's fascinating when like you tell somebody like, I felt in your left arm like this was going on. They're like, oh my God, I felt it so heavy when you were doing it. Like I felt like it was like you're pressing on it. And I'm like, told you.
It's so great being the practitioner and being able to see it too. And it's like it's a win-win for both the client and yourself. It's like a mutual exchange going into, okay, we're going to do this work together, and it's just an upgrade every time, or just it's a beautiful experience. And it's really fun when you can have it on your own. I laid on a bed of crystals, a heated bed with crystals, and I think I told you my experience, Nicole, and Laura too, because I wasn't quite sure what was going on, but I went like deep into theta, and I was seeing a lot of like I saw Jesus Christ. I literally did, and he like blessed me with his energy, and I almost felt not worthy of it, because I'm like, it can't be him. Maybe it's some kind of wizard or something. But I just accepted it at the end. And so it's so great having someone be able to tell you and be like, yeah. And then it's also wonderful to be on your own mystical journey, especially when it's recorded too. I mean, those things obviously are downloads that you have, but I love that work that you do. Oh my gosh. I seriously want to jump through the screen and be like, I'm here.
I know. And I can't wait to get acupuncture involved in this. Like one of the things that like, I'm missing one exam to be licensed as an acupuncturist, because one of the things like I'm really good at, and I it's hard for me to even say it, because I don't like saying it. Like I don't like saying it.
It's okay to say that you're good at it.
Connor, I know, but Connor keeps telling me like, Lina, you have to say it. You have to tell people that you're good at it. And I'm like, you know you're good at it. I'm like, okay. But one of the things that I'm really good at is geometric, like sacred geometry, and I can see it in the body, what the body needs. Like I can know where the points are in the body that I need to press. Like I see you and I'm like, I need to press that button. Like that's how I feel. I'm like, I need to press that button, then that button to shift you and like kind of like balance that out. And I used acupuncture and pendulum. I used to do that in clinic, even though I wasn't allowed, because nobody was certified in pendulum except me. I still did it like on my friends and people that I knew. And like that combination between acupuncture and the pendulum.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine. That's
now, do you approach people like, hey, it's this is my cost, but if you can't, donation, and then up to the cost. Like if it's like, let's say $100, but you know the person is struggling and only has like $10. Like how do you even approach the sliding scale?
So yeah, depending on the like what they're going through and how I feel it. Like if I usually do like a sliding scale from 50 to 100. So whatever it is from between that. If it is through donation based, then I mostly do it over the phone if it's donation based. So I won't go in the clinic, because I do have to pay for the clinic.
Absolutely.
But for example, like I can, like, let's say that me and you, Danielle, you want to experience that, right? Like, let's say that you want to like experience it, and you're like, hey, listen, I don't know if this is going to work for me, but like, would you do this for me? And we can do it over the phone. And I usually do it for 30 minutes. And while those 30 minutes, I'm going through the whole channels with the pendulum while you're meditating.
Sign me up. Let's go.
So we can do it, and you can try it out. Yeah, definitely.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Nicole's on board too.
Yeah,
Yep,
we
we
can
got
definitely do it.
two more, what are
Oh my
clients?
God,
Is that
you
what they're
guys are
called?
gonna love it, because the thing is, like, in that moment where I'm like, okay, just keep your eyes closed. And the one of the things, I need the person to be in their bed, because the bed already subconsciously means relaxation. So
Yeah.
if you're in a couch, if you're in the sitting, most people don't meditate to the point where they can
Yeah. Agreed.
sit down for 30 minutes and not move. You know what I mean? So I prefer you laying down and falling asleep than being awake and moving around, you know? So I would say lay down in your bed, relax for these 30 minutes. In this 30 minutes, I'm going to give you a call. When those 30 minutes are up, we're going to talk about all the things that you experienced, what the things that I saw. And then I end up with a reading of the angels, because I love healing with the angels, and I do readings, like tarot readings and stuff like that. So I'll finish up with like a message that the angels have to give you. And usually it kind of correlates to what I already told you. So let's say I'm like, you need to take care of your body and drink more water because I feel like something's going on. And then like the angel card will be like body care. And I'm like, I told you. I'm like, I don't have to do much, but it's just your body's already telling me, yelling at me what they need, like yelling. Like, it's kind of annoying. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, she's
But
like, all right, so this is what you need to do.
yeah, and I mean, it's just beautiful though, because I think it gives the opportunity to try it out, for people to try it out, see what they experience, what they feel, what I feel. We can go back and forth, and most of the things I say, you already know. Every time that I say things, I'm like, they're like, oh. I'm like,
You gotta start doing it.
I'm like, that's why you're coming to me, for me to tell you what you already know. Like,
Tell you what you know. Yep.
yeah. But yeah, it's fascinating. I would love for you, if you guys want to, definitely we can do it. The weekends are usually what the times that I do it, in the morning. So that's the times that I'm like most active, and I do all this stuff.
Well, yeah, I definitely want to connect with you on that for sure.
We can definitely do it. Yes,
Sounds
definitely.
The one thing that I learned too with so I don't know, I didn't really share, but I own a business for like 12 years now with my spouse. So we owned 2 gyms at one point. Well, I was really just the one gym with him, and we still own it now. I'm still there. And we own the second one. That one put me through all this financial craziness before COVID, and then COVID happened, and then everything freaking happened. And during COVID, that's when I decided that I needed to do quantum healing hypnosis. So I had to go through practicing quite a bit, and going from like, just jumping into this space, being like, how do I charge people, was a really difficult thing for me, because we had a hard time charging people for our gym, because everybody was always looking for a deal. And it's just the way that it was. And then at some point you get to the point where like, this is the cost. Even now at the gym, like we would have people in Cherry Hill, which is like 10 miles away from, not even 8 miles away from where we are now, back in our hometown. We just tell people the price and they're like, okay, sign me up. And I'm like, we have a waiting list now, where before people would be like, well, I don't really want to pay that. It's just ridiculous. And so I've really come into my power with like, this is the price. And not to take away from people that don't want it, but the people that are coming to you now, they have the money, they have the support, they have the means to do it. Unless you're willing to do a barter, that's a different situation. But I've really come to the point where people even doing QHHT, I probably should be charging people more. I charge $300 for like, and it could go to 6 to 8 hours. And people are like, you should be charging way more than that. But and it's recorded, and it's like a full day thing. But I feel comfortable with 300, and especially with how much time I've done with it. So I'll just tell people like, that's it. And there's times where I've driven an hour and a half, and I'm like, thank God I charged $300, because the gas itself is like 100, both ways, or whatever, $60. But I wanted to share that with you because I've gone that route a lot, and I feel like I'm being told, just say your price, just say it, and don't say any more. It's like the more we talk, the more we're like, well, they're like, no, it's $300. Don't speak, and you'll be surprised. So that I was told, I feel like I was told to tell you that. You name your price.
Yeah, that's definitely important for me, because I am not the type of like, I literally want to do everything for free.
Right. Just tell them the price is $150. It's $150, or if you're doing a half an hour, it's $60. Don't say anything.
Yeah.
You're worth it.
It's
Lina,
beautiful
you're
that, like,
worth
you're
it.
telling me this, because I feel like it is another kind of thing that I obviously I'm working on, and it is a struggle for me because I come from like a place where, like, for example, my mom is such a giver. Like, she'll do anything for everybody and cook for everybody and do all the things. So I think I kind of grew up with this mentality of like, oh yeah, this is something, but I'm like, no. No, I'm like,
Yeah,
this
I'm exactly the same way
happened. Yes,
with the
exactly.
needing to feel money. But I think it's also helping us get to a point to take what we do seriously. Like, when are we spending $60 on a sweatshirt that means nothing and gets you nowhere, but $60 that'll transform your life and will change your life and you will never be the same ever? Like, the types of costs of money need to be shifted, and think of it more like we're looking at energy exchanges. But this is a lifelong thing you're giving them. It's not something that's just tangible and materialistic that means nothing. This is a lifetime of knowledge that's worth more than anything.
Well, you made a good
So,
point.
yeah.
2 years later, I'm having these women come to me and tell them, like, this girl's doing automatic writing now, and she's having her awakening, and she literally was like telling me to do these things, like, you've got to keep doing these things. And I'm like, wow, this impact really lasts more than just, and I know this already because that's what they tell us. They're like, they have to listen to their recording of themselves, of their higher self, right in the beginning multiple times, and it can, the healing can last up to a year after. I've listened back before and heard myself say something and been like, wow, I really needed to hear that right now. I mean, so like you said, it's a lifelong opportunity.
Priceless.
Yeah, that's so true. And I think that's another thing that like happens with us that do these kinds of healings, that because it's not something that is mainstream, and it's not something that like we kind of almost have to sell ourselves for it, like this is what I'm doing, and that's the thing that I'm like, I dread, like I don't like marketing myself. That's why I do social media, because I just do videos and I'm like,
it's for what I'm saying. I feel another thing to you, because you have the it factor. So like we've done, and this is what I want to say about business, because it's all sham. Like, advertising is not going to get you anything. I put so much money in advertising in my business. We put thousands, and never got anything from it. And it was literally just an energy. I don't know what it is. It's like a knowing that the abundance is already there, that I've already got all the clients, that they're there. It's just a matter of when they're going to come walking through the door, and you putting yourself out there in a way that brings you joy. That is your advertising. No more trying to do what that other acupuncturist is doing down the street, or that other gym that's doing. I mean, we did everything to the point where we were spending like $3,000 a month on marketing. Maybe even more, maybe $4,000 a month in marketing. And we didn't have that kind of money to spend. And we made like one sale from it, and it was like temporary. And I'm like, what are we doing here? And I realized we're not in alignment. And as soon as we left that place, we don't market at all. People are like, do you need marketing? You need clients? We're like, no, we actually don't do any marketing. People just come and find us and they walk through the front door. Yeah, we have a website and all that stuff, but we've been doing this for a long time. And Lina, you are seasoned. You know your craft. I don't care if you have a paper that tells you you do or don't. You don't need it. You've been doing this since you've been 13. You are gifted, and I just want to tell you this because I feel like you don't even realize how much people need you, and you just say, I'm here for you. This is how much it costs, and I can't wait to see you. You know what I mean? You don't even have to say what it costs, but like, this is what I do, and I'm here to support you. And then people will come. Literally build it and they will come, and that's it. Like, you have so much to offer.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate those words. It's like when I said, I'm like, I've been going through a lot. It's been like, I'm in a low moment now, and hearing this stuff is like really beautiful, because it boosts me up. And that's why I was waiting for today as well, because I'm like, wow, like it really boosts me up to like talk about these things, because it's something that is soul, and everything else that is physical and that is happening right now, and this physical world is like really momentarily, and it's just events that happen, but like this is really what I look forward to. And I love that you said that, and I really, really, really appreciate you, Danielle, for that, because that's really what I needed to hear. So thank you.
I feel that really strongly from you. Like, I know when I see someone who knows what they do, and it's like, we go through all this stuff thinking we have to do all these hoops to get. And I told that to Nicole. Nicole's like, you know, she created this great line. I'm like, you have it all together. I said, now it's just a matter of just what she does the best. She's the master at consistency and her heart. And I said, and it's all gonna unfold beautifully how it's gonna go. But I think we get in our mind, we need these instant results, right? But just when everything is happening, then you just be prepared, because it might come boom, you know, and you're not prepared for it or ready for it. And then you're like, oh my God, I don't have enough time to get all this together because I'm still doing my normal 3D job, you know?
Yeah. No, I really think, I kind of mentioned before, but I really think that.
Oh, you're muted.
Oh no, we can't hear you again.
Nicole, you're muted.
I don't know what's happening.
There you go. I think you just hit it by accident. There you go. You're good. Yeah, but raise the volume.
Can't hear you now.
Oh, really?
1 second. I think I have to jump off. Can't hear.
Okay.
But yeah, I definitely, that's something that I'm working on, and it has been such a like big thing in my life right now. I think that's a big thing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Sorry about that. Okay, so I was gonna say, financial and spirituality is gonna really come together, because I mean, as of right now, it makes no sense to us as spiritual beings that we just don't connect with the financial world. You know, that's just how we are as spiritual beings, because we get it. So anyway, I think because like the way we're moving, the things that we're creating, all these types of techniques that we're doing, QHHT, acupuncture, the things that you can't see but are still have this financial service, is becoming in more in waves, more common, more regular, that it's going to eventually be the only thing that's holding up the system, is working on these real things that we're doing. We're literally like paving the way for this to happen.
Absolutely.
So we have to hold on to our price, saying that we're not backing down to the system, because we are the system. You know, we're creating that, and you decide that price. I totally feel you though, Lina, because I also am a giver. I want to do everything for free. I want to help people. That's just who we are also as spiritual soul beings. We just want to help. But I think we also need to really understand that we are valuable. We have something to bring to the table, and many can benefit from this. And that's finances right there. I mean, that's what you pay for. You pay for things, and we offer that. So I need that for myself too, because I don't offer any money for anything.
Yeah, I'm seriously the same way. It wasn't until it's kind of like, for example, like your 3D job. I see the gym, like we play. This is why I wanted to meet with Andrea, because we teeter-totter in 3D, 5D all the time. I'm like really becoming somewhat of a little master of like throwing 5D over the 3D people, because they're like, oh yeah, okay. Like I'll talk about something like, I know that they like don't know what I'm talking about, but I'll like say it in a way to get them open to it. But I just don't have time to play games over there. I'm like, I know that game now. Like, I'm like, oh, I get the 3D game. So it's like, I can play games over there and know that, hey, this is what it is. But then when it comes to the spirituality, that's the joy. I don't even think about money over here. Like, that's why the conscious broadcast, I'm like, I'm just doing it because I'll meet my tribe. We're going to be creating crazy things and awesome stuff. Like, I don't even have to worry about money. It's like, it's all like going to be there.
Yeah.
So it's like you kind of have to, like, I look at it in those two ways. Like if you're going to have a shop and it's going to be entertaining that type of realm, you kind of work with how the rules are there, because you know the game and you're okay with it. It's not like, oh, the rules are bad. Like I think everyone's always like, well, oh, I don't want to play this game anymore. I'm like, but you know the rules now. Like before we came in not knowing, we were blindsided. And we were, you know, now that the veil has lifted for most of us and still is, we kind of know. I kind of go along with it. I'm like, okay, you think I don't know. I just kind of like laugh, to be honest. Like someone's like,
I always say this to my boss, and I think that's funny that you mentioned this, because I always say this to my boss. I'm like, he's a chiropractor, and he's my boss right now. I actually am gonna become one of the partners because I'm gonna do acupuncture there. But right now he's my boss, and he always goes, oh, how are you doing? You getting burned out yet? I was like, no, because this is a game. Don't you see? I'm finding puzzles and stuff and finding the attorneys and the insurance claims. That this is just a game. And then he looks at me, he's like, it's not a game. And I'm like, if I don't think about it, it's a game, I'm gonna go crazy. If I think about it, that is like, it's something that is so serious that I have to sit here and like this is serious, then I will literally go crazy. So I told him, I'm like, I need to think about it as a game. Like, I need to think about it as a puzzle that I'm trying to figure out.
Sure.
What's happening with this person and what do we need to do about it? You know, like, and he just laughs at me because I'm like such a cuckoo compared to all of these people.
You're welcome home, because that's what we live in.
I mean, that's why I was so happy to be here, because it really is such a like, oof.
Yeah, it really is a relief. I love what Connor did. He even told me personally, he's like, we're not following any of the rules of a normal summit. I'm like, that's because we're not supposed to. This isn't a summit of like doing what everybody else did. This is a summit of finding the light workers, the love. I don't even, whatever you want to refer you to, just on the yearningness of family, soul family, or just like-minded individuals, energetic connections. This is the place to be.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask before we close up, because I have to go soon.
Yeah, me too. I actually have to wrap up.
Let's talk about a little bit about what is the most important thing in your life, because I think that would be so beautiful if we can just kind of finish up with that, and we can keep thinking about it while, like, until we meet next time.
Yeah.
So
Nicole, you go first.
Yes, Nicole.
Okay. So the most important thing to me, it always comes back to, because mass meditations is my thing, is really raising the frequency of the planet. And raising the frequency of the planet can, in my opinion, come from mass meditation. We create a coherence in the collective that allows whatever we're manifesting to take place, literally. So I feel that is the most important thing that we can do as souls here, to be a collective, come together and raise the frequencies of the planet, which will equal unconditional love and just a divine merge, which is everything to me.
Beautiful.
Yeah. You want to go, Lina?
Okay. I think the most important thing in my life right now, I say right now because I think it shifts depending on where I am. But right now, I think the most important thing is to bring insight into the inner world of people. So I think I'm more of a personalized, kind of like, you know how you're talking about like a mass, like frequency raising. I think about it more for me in a personal level. Like, I love like speaking to one person and making a change in that one person, and like helping them, like, I guess be aware of their inner world. Like, I think that's so missed in life. Like, people don't have no idea what their inner world is. Like, so I think one of the things that I really, really focus on, and I, even with my healing and my TikToks and everything that I do, I think is that to bring insight into their own self. Like, what are you feeling? Like, what is going on within you? Like, you know, I want to know that. That's one thing that I want to know that, but like, I want them to know that within themselves, like what is happening inside of their body. And I think that's really, I just want to shake people by people. Like, I just want to go one by one and be like, hello.
Right.
Like, pay attention to your inner world. And
I love it.
I think that's the most important thing in my life right now.
Beautiful.
Yes. Oh, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I think the most important thing right now at the moment, it's been pretty consistent, is coming together with soul family. Really, I want to be able to see my brothers and sisters for the highest version of themselves, to really see their true potential, that we can now take off all the masks and all the layers, and we don't need to carry any of that anymore, and that we're ready. And so now we're going to hold each other's hands, and we're going to move together into this beautiful place if we choose to. You know, I know there's a lot that just haven't made that choice, and as much as I want to be able to grab them all because we're so close, I feel we're so close. And I just love meeting everybody. I love meeting everybody. It's almost like a play, and we all like are playing a character. And then when the show's over, we're like, hey, we did it. And so I think I'm really ready for that moment. That's the most important thing, is where we come together in a beautiful way, and we know we've done it. We've come here and we succeeded in what our soul's journey was. And I'm so excited about being a part of it and getting to share it. And for people that are just coming into this, knowing of, wow, I'm part of something big. I'm not little me anymore. No, you're very much about we're all very big big players in this reality, because we are our own realities in a collective way. So it's like I'm like the bridge between both of you. It's like I want to see the individual experience, but I want to see it on a massive level.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that.
I see that.
I love you guys. I do. I really
love
do.
This was so beautiful. Thank you so
Great.
much. And I'm definitely, I want to show you guys the clinic that I am. I'm gonna send you guys a TikTok so you can take a look at that. And can I share a little thing that I wrote? Hold on.
Yeah, and Lina, if you want to give me your email, I can share both of this this video recording to you. Like Nicole, I can send it to you through. Do you do Google Drive? Because I can easily send it through there. So I'll send this video, and you can play with it if you want to do your own videos. I don't know what we would call this, like mini panel. It's not really technically the summit, but we did kind of talk about the summit, so I don't know how we would do it.
I mean, we're trying to get to know each other. I mean, we have to be comfortable with each other to be able to flow better, you know, and where we're standing and where we feel. So I think this was perfect. I think it was perfect for what it was, because I wanted to get to know you guys a little deeper.
Me too.
Me and Nicole talked, and I saw Danielle for like 5 minutes when I introduced myself, and then I was like, okay, bye.
Yeah.
Definitely, this was something that it was perfect for us.
Yeah, and give Natasha our love too, because I hope that she is feeling better.
Yeah.
So can I share a little poem with you guys?
Yes.
I wrote this in 2012, but I couldn't stop thinking about it when we were talking about this, like when we were talking about the layers, and like how like every time that we go through a spiritual like awakening, it's another layer that we get out of ourselves, right? So this is how I'm a little shy, but I feel like I should share this.
Yeah, go for it. You're in a safe place. No judgment here. We love this stuff.
Yes.
All right, so it goes like this. It goes, in this relative absolute perception of us, animals of consciousness, full of this natural cosmic energy, which without knowing we are being part of. This verse that is designed to be one in many multiple layers inside this majestic onion of crying, suffering, and jaded faces.
Love that. That's great. You should write that up.
Like seriously.
I just couldn't stop thinking. I'm like, I need to tell these girls this. I need to tell them, because it just kind of puts everything. We are in this cosmic dance, you know, and I think that it just, what we're doing is so valuable.
Yeah. Oh, I love that you said this cosmic dance, because I've literally told Nicole, like, I feel like we're all in our own little dance, and we're all still kind of getting comfortable with each other. Like some people are in the ballet dance, and some people are in the tap dance, and I'm like in the freestyle dance. I'm like,
I'm like, you're in the dance, bachata and salsa.
Yeah, you're in your salsa dance, and we're all like, okay, I'm vibing. I can do it.
We're just doing the dance.
Yeah, right. So maybe hip hopping and spinning, you know. But I feel like we're all kind of dancing. We all kind of know our way. Like you said, it's all like different, but it's all like dance, you know.
Yeah. And I totally
that is designed to be one.
Was that Nicole?
One. The feeling of like when you're done with the play and it's like yay, we did it. As soon as we end this call, I'm gonna feel like that, because I feel like we were able to express our souls and share with like-minded. Like it is that feeling when you get to connect. It's just a connection. It just fires your soul up and makes you know that you're on the right path. Like it's no better feeling. So I'm just so thankful to be in this space.
I know.
You're gonna hang up
because it's like the fragments of God got put together, like 3 fragments right here got put together, and we're like, oh, yes, this is great.
Connected.
Well, and it's so great how is it that we can connect within an hour, and we went years in grade school with no connection with people. How is it?
So crazy.
Isn't that crazy? Like I've had friends that
speak the same language. We speak the same
right, but
language.
that's the thing, isn't that so? That's like what you said. That's what the hypnosis you had. That the people in your life are not going to be the ones that are your family. They're not they're not going to understand you. You're going to feel like a hermit. I've been that my whole life. I'm like, I got to blend in with these people. But I'm like, these people are clearly, I'm weird. I must be an alien or something, because
yeah. Totally.
And here we can meet in an hour. And we're like, yeah, we're gonna come on over. I'm gonna teleport.
I'm like thinking, I'm like, oh my God, can we all live together in that communal like space?
It's Lina. It's happening.
A gym that is integrative, where you can do hypnosis and you can do
and we have sound healing, and then you can just do the acupuncture, and then we'll do the mass meditation. It's all gonna happen.
Oh my God, baby girls, we're about to blow up the world.
I know.
Community life. I can't wait. This is future.
Oh my gosh, I get the goosebumps just thinking about you guys.
I
'Cause,
know,
like,
it's so
I really can't wait
beautiful.
till I can meet you guys in the physical because it's going to happen. I really do believe all these
Oh, we have
connections
to.
are happening.
We
It's
have to
happening.
do some kind of like retreat in somewhere
Connor's
where we
doing a
can all
retreat. I'm
camp.
thinking what Paul, or he has to either do that one, and then all the people that are on this panel, we need to do the
Yes.
retreat together.
Yes, that's how it's done.
That's how it's
Mhm.
done.
Oh my
Bam.
God, and we can
Boom.
all healing. Like I can do
Mic
healing,
drop.
and you can do healing, and then we can all do healing, and we're all like, whoa.
Roll heal.
I've been to festivals. I went to this harmonic festival. Amazing. Like, it was like a weekend. It was like a 4-day weekend. If we all went, guys, I mean,
Wow.
it would be
I can
beautiful.
imagine.
And people can choose what areas they want to go to because there's usually like an ecstatic dance. Then they could do. Then people break off in their little, their areas of expertise. Like you could do some mini, acupuncture lessons, and everyone can, whoever feels called to do that. Otherwise, you're just there for the experience, and making the connections.
Oh,
But we all know each other anyway, so
heck yeah. It'd be a
that's
party.
even better. It's not like we have to make all these introductions because we're going to be part of the summit. The summit is going to be a while.
Oh my God,
too.
and then we can do the EEGs and see where we're
Yes,
shooting.
Oh,
Nicole,
What's
I
going
want
on?
one.
Yes, I love it. I'm getting one. There's some like that are on like cheap Chinese websites that I can try to see if they're legit.
Oh my God, you should get
We
it.
should connect with some of maybe the acupuncturist world too. You never know, right? Never
Yeah,
know.
that's true.
That's true.
I'll
Never
talk to
know.
Brian because Brian has, being an athletic trainer and EEGs, maybe not for the brain, but he has
No, honestly, concussions alone, anything with like sports injuries, that's permanent. Yeah.
So he might have some in on that.
TBI testing, right? That's what it's called. Traumatic brain injury.
TBI. Mm-hmm.
All right, lovely sisters.
Yeah.
Alrighty, ladies.
This was
thank you
a pleasure.
so much.
And whenever we can meet up
So good.
again, let's do it and
Yeah, let's plan
rock
it
this
out with
metaphysical panel.
Yes, so we
Yeah.
can get Natasha in, and
Yeah.
I think within
Maybe
this week,
Chris could get in too.
Maybe we can like start sending ideas of what kind of metaphysical stuff we can talk about. Maybe like for example, like cleansing your energy, or like healing with the crystals, or whatever it is that like we're doing, or whatever
different ways to do that. Yeah.
So at least we can narrow it down a little bit, and then we can kind of like go deeper into it, because I feel like it would be too broad if we all start talking about our experiences.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah,
Definitely. It's going to be a lot, and then we'll want to touch on what everyone said, and I could see that going forever.
Yeah, and it's just only an hour, so we're gonna have to pick something specifically to talk about.
So is it only an hour? I wasn't quite sure how long the panels were. Is the panels an hour?
That's what he said, 45 minutes to an hour. Didn't Connor say that?
Oh, did he?
I think it was minimum 45, but I don't know about the max.
Oh, okay. So maybe it could be like 2 hours would be a good kind of place.
But again, you do want the listeners to make it to the end, is what I always think.
I think 45 minutes to an hour is really great, but with a panel, we've always had a hard time, right, Nicole?
I mean, we're already almost 2 hours right now.
I know, we're just chatting.
3 of us.
I know. Well, that's because we're soul sisters and we have a lot to say.
We do. We have so much. Look how much ground we covered in this 1 hour too.
We gotta go like to
we're
our
all
souls.
evolved beings now. Now we're gonna go and rock our businesses and whatever we do, and it's just gonna be abundance, abundance.
I'm about to charge like 150 all because of Danielle. Blame Danielle. I don't know.
Blame me. Put it on me. That's fine. Just like you just say 150.
That's it. Take it or leave it.
Seriously, I've learned that lesson, and it's great because then the more you keep talking yourself out of it. So
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But, okay, I'm gonna let you guys go.
All right, guys,
care.
ladies. Bye.
Take care. Bye.
Take care. Have a good one.
Yeah.